According to new research from Amazon Ads and Skift, 97% of travelers will take a leisure trip in the next year. These customers are looking for more than a deal. They're looking for a new experience. Travelers discover destinations through entertainment, recommendations, and everyday moments, with 1 in 4 finding their next destination while streaming shows and movies. That's where Amazon Ads comes in. Amazon Ads Solutions empowers advertisers to engage travelers across Prime Video, Twitch, and shopping channels with personalized messaging that inspires and converts. Ready to transform your travel marketing? Visit advertising.amazon.com to learn more. All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Good Morning Hospitality. And in this episode, one of our final episodes of the year, we are covering what predictions we hit and what predictions we missed that we predicted or said we were going to predict in the beginning of the year. So without further ado, please enjoy this episode. Good morning.
Good morning. That was a really fast outfit change, Jamie. Before we went live, you know, I also turned on the lights behind me to all my Christmas lights. There was like a mad panic.
Called Jamie Taylor Swift for that Swift change there.
Yeah.
He did the same thing to us last year. He put on a green beanie to match the green theme that Brandy, Michael, and I had. So, you know, Jamie, you're really good at the improv, I gotta say.
Quite the wardrobe.
Yeah, and I forgot that we were wearing Christmas sweaters, so I did it real quick.
Well, I appreciate it. For all the listeners, definitely check out the video version because we're looking pretty dapper with our holiday spirits. So how is everyone doing? How was the weekend? We're on one of our final episodes of the year. The hotel crew has their episode this week, and then we're done. We're on Christmas break, New Year break, all the good stuff. I won't see you guys until January 5th, which is going to be crazy. So
wow. That's so sad.
I know. We'll probably have some breaking news in the meantime, so maybe we'll get some.
We'll chat. I can't imagine we'll not go 3 weeks without it. So this weekend made it down to, if anyone in the Southeast, Jamie, I'm sure you've heard of it, Callaway Gardens and their Lights Festival. So we did that last night. Brought the kids, stayed up late, had lots of sugar, and I think I don't know how many millions of lights, but it's insane. So if you haven't heard of it and you live within driving distance of Columbus, Georgia, take the family out there. It's a really cool property and a great way to get in the holiday spirit.
I love it. Do the boys, I love the picture in the group chat, you know, Elliot screaming bloody murder, it sounds like. And then Oliver having a good time watching his baby bro freak out.
Yep. We got the classic 2-year-old in Santa's lap picture where it is just all tears. I also grabbed a video of it. It was like that loud scream, but nothing came out because there was no air left. And then as soon as he got air, it was like just a belt. So the poor kid, but you know, those are the memories we'll have forever.
I just imagine those Santas, like how many screaming toddlers are put on their lap every single day.
He was so great. Yeah. So
you got to be very patient as that Santa. So props to that.
I just went to a bunch of holiday parties. It was pretty chill. A friend in town visiting. It's like that season where everybody has their company Christmas party. Everybody's throwing their whatever party. So just bopping around. And I did hurt myself. So that's I've hurt my first old person injury of a hurt back. So I've been humbled.
Well, I was asking, I was like, were you breaking it down on the dance floor? Like what happened? So just a simple workout?
Just working out in a hotel gym, doing honestly the bare minimum. So I was like, I don't even have a cool story, but I guess this is life in your 30s.
Part of getting old. The first time I did it, I coughed the wrong way. So
I'm like,
that's when it hits you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we went at some fun dinners on Saturday and Sunday night, but the highlight of the weekend was Friday night. We do movie night. I was like, we're going to do a fun old school Christmas movie, so I had them watch Home Alone,
Ugh,
and
sweet.
they were laughing hysterically the entire time. And then I wake up on Saturday morning. My wife was still out of town; she was gone for
Can I
work.
ask you real quick? Did they love the tarantula scene where the guy
Oh.
that's the best one, the best
Yeah.
one.
But my 4-year-old had gotten up early and was watching the movie again.
You're gonna see it a couple more times, I have a feeling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was
They
already
weren't
halfway
scared?
through it. Yeah, what?
They weren't scared?
They loved it. Yeah, it was like, yeah, it was so funny.
That's good quality time. That's good quality.
It's my favorite Christmas movie.
Yeah, I haven't seen it forever. Mine used to be The Christmas Story, so now I'll have to put it on Home Alone. Yeah, be good.
Will, what about you?
Yeah, I had another weekend in the mountains, of course, as predicted. So it was a longer trek than I was expecting. The road about 3 miles to the trailhead was blocked, so I had to add an extra 6 miles to my trip.
Oh,
That was a
jeez.
little fun, but it was good. I still got home before 3:30, which was awesome. Beautiful weather. I was the only one out there. The trail was a little hard to find because I didn't have snowshoes and there was a lot of snow, but other than that, it's really good weekend. Peaceful. I'm a little sore though, Brandy. I'm feeling the pain. I had a hard time getting out of bed yesterday. So
Yeah, I hope you don't feel what I'm feeling because it's yeah, I don't wish this on anyone.
no, 100%. Well, I had really bad. I pinched a nerve in my back, which made my knee hurt. So I had to do a bunch of soft needling, which was interesting. But shout out to Paul Manzi, who's always tuning into the live. We appreciate you guys. If you are tuning in just now, feel free to comment where you're joining in from. Feel free to give us any feedback on any of these predictions that we're about to cover, because there was definitely some misses. I'll just say that.
And it'd be great to hear the viewers and audience's predictions for 2026 as we formulate our own.
Yes. So be ready. Next year, January 5th, our first episode back, we'll be gearing up with our predictions for the rest of the year 2026 on what our crystal balls are going to be showing us and telling us. Jamie's is probably a little bit more accurate because he's got some data behind his. But at the end of the day, it's always a good time and a fun tradition on the show. So without further ado, I think it's time to get into one of our first ones. I will say the nice thing was we did in the beginning of our episode last year, we were all wearing green and hinting towards a lot of money, which was nice to see. There were some good acquisitions. There were some good mergers. And then, of course, for those who are new, probably do know already, Good Morning Hospitality was acquired by Skift. So that was a good unpredicted prediction, I guess, if that makes sense. But our first one today is from our very own Michael Golden. So let's play the clip and then we'll respond right after.
I'm going to go with an OTA one as well, but a lower OTA market share over the next few years because of credit card competition, hotels branding, direct booking emphasis, and the potential of AI. So I don't know if it'll be a 2025 or 2026, but in the next year or two, we might see OTA market share lower.
All right.
I'll defend it real quick and then we'll roll in. I did caveat 2025 or 2026. So AI, I still have a strong feeling will lead to a large amount of bookings in 2026. For the hotel that we manage at Nook, we've already seen 4% of reservations over the past month or two come from ChatGPT. And that's just an early signal. So yes, that eats into the direct bookings route versus Google. But nonetheless, I think where I probably did miss was how little market share it feels like the credit cards and the other hotel brands have done. So Jamie, if there's any data to support my argument and say I've succeeded, great. Otherwise, just go ahead and pop the bubble.
I looked, I could not find any data to support that you got that one right. I tried.
Thank you for trying.
He even tried to maneuver some numbers around and just couldn't make it work. So I'm shocked though too. I'll just say for the credit card side, right? Like I think that one's gonna be a little bit harder for us to track due to I think they're gonna share what data they want to share versus not having it be fully transparent or transferable. So that's my thing. It's like you can't like great prediction, but it's hard to really quantify it based on what Capital One and Chase and American Express are all putting out.
Well,
Yeah,
also,
I think
is some of that like mixed in with like Expedia and Booking, like their
Mhm.
data, because if they're using them to power those sites, I feel like
Mhm.
that could get a little convoluted.
I don't know who to attribute this quote to, but and I might butcher it because I'm terrible with quotes. But you always overestimate what can be done in 1 year and underestimate what can be done in 10.
Mhm.
So I'll just leave it there.
Yeah. We can have our 10-year prediction episode and we'll come back and be like, Michael was right.
It just
AI
took him
took
10
over.
years. He
And
was really early.
I'm the last person to just be preaching AI. But when I've seen it in the data of the property I manage, that we manage ourselves, it's hard to ignore.
Yeah, for sure.
Makes sense. All right. Well, our next prediction is from Mrs. Canali. So it's going to be another short clip, but a good one. And we were saying behind the scenes, definitely, again, there's going to be some misses. So Paul, who said that the hotel cruise was really good and doesn't want us to let him down. We're going to have some misses. They had a lot of hits. I think they had one miss out of the whole episode. So just, here we go. Here, Brandy, here's your first prediction.
All right. So this year we saw kind of different, not necessarily shakeups, but different moves on the OTA front, especially kind of this big push by Booking.com. And so one of my predictions for next year or this year is that Booking.com is going to continue to eat away, I think, pretty large swaths of Airbnb's inventory, especially in urban markets. And then on the flip side of that, I think Vrbo is going to continue to try to do that in the more sea and ski markets, but I think they will be not as successful as Booking.com. But Booking.com really, I think, has a lot of power behind it to eat at Airbnb's market share. Well, so in my defense, there was growth about 20% for Booking.com. However,
Do I pull up the chart?
Yeah, pull up the chart. So if you're watching or if you're listening right now, we have the three big OTAs: Airbnb, Vrbo, Booking, all next to each other. And yeah, Booking didn't do the huge dent, or as I said, the huge swaths of inventory. I don't think they were really taking that away. And then also, this big bump in like the urban markets. I mean, it's there. There's a bump, but it's not this like, I don't know, dramatic shift I was expecting. So yeah, I mean, 20% growth is good. So maybe a half point.
100%.
But yeah, it's not eliminating anyone else's market share at this point.
Agreed. Jamie, Michael, any pushback? I'll give you a half a point for sure.
Thanks.
Before Jamie comes in with facts and data, I'll give my anecdote. Booking is whatever pound gorilla in the room, but they just have not fully cracked North America.
Yeah.
Will they ever? Probably, but man, it feels like they just can't figure it out. So, Jamie, I'll turn to you.
I can't say it any better. I think if we had Glenn Fogel on right now, and he would say the same thing. Is like our emphasis is still on growing the U.S. and we have not grown as much as we want, and it's still a priority for them. So
yeah,
and a few more years of 20% growth, you could start to see it. But they're at a pretty small base in terms of overall. And we're talking about like short-term rental, alternative accommodation inventory for Booking, not their hotel inventory. So that they still just have a long way to go. And their platform, I think, arguably needs to get a lot easier to use if they're going to see sort of mass US adoption.
Yeah, I was just going to echo that this is not factoring in any of the hotel product. This is just STR, because hotel probably is a different story. But the ease of use, I just booked a hotel on Booking.com, and I was actually and I had just booked a house on Airbnb, and it is so much more difficult to navigate. So use some of that chunky money that you talked about in your earnings call and reinvest in the app.
Agreed. Yeah. Glenn has definitely said that a lot on Skift stages from Skift Global Forum and other interviews he's done with Dennis, in between then too. So I agree. But, the user experience I think is going to be really important. The apps, like, didn't Expedia say like a lot of their bookings or majority of the bookings now is coming from the app. So for me, it's, user experience is everything for digital. But moving on to the next prediction, Jamie Lane. This is going to be a fun one. So get ready to be prepared with the numbers, with the data.
One of my predictions, and this I think will be a clear headwind for all of the OTAs. So in the US, I expect 1/3, 30% of US markets to see a decline in the number of listings that they have in 2025 compared to 2024. So if we look at the trend, so this time last year, there were 7 markets that saw a year-over-year decline in listings. Currently, it's around 60.
Wow.
I think that's going to increase to over 100 at this time next year.
All right,
so I sort of gave 2 predictions there. One that was that overall 30% of listings were going to see a decline, or markets were going to see a decline in 2025. And that this time next year, we'd have 100 markets seeing overall decline. So overall for 2025, it was only 20% that saw a decline, but we did get to 100 markets by the end of this year. So half and half. So I'm going to go with Brandy and say I was half right.
Get a half point.
For full year 2025, we saw 20% of markets had a decline in listings, which and you guys didn't think that one was going to come to fruition. So the fact that we did see that many markets see a decline this year, I think was a good call.
Will, where's the round of applause button?
Oh, give me 1 second.
This is a good thing for the industry. We need less supply because then everyone with supply will succeed more. And it's been part of the problem why it feels like as an industry we're sucking wind a little bit. It's not the demand signals, it's oversupply. So Jamie, I hope you predict it again, and I hope it comes true that 100 more markets have supply compression. It only hurts the OTAs. It only helps all of the property management companies out there. So good job. Keep the trend going.
Well,
is this a sell your vacation home mantra that's coming out right now?
I'll say we've got our Outlook webinar tomorrow for our DNA, and I'd say the prediction is going to change a bit in terms of our supply outlook for next year.
Well, I guess we're all having to tune into that webinar tomorrow, guys. So.
To get some ideas for our predictions.
Jamie's got some inside baseball.
100%. Yeah. Well, speaking of, not this clip, a couple clips in the future, but this next one is from myself, and I'll just leave it at that. We'll see how I did at the end. I have 2 predictions for this year, but the first one I'm going to say is kind of a 2-themed prediction. And obviously, as we saw the news of Casago going after acquiring Vacasa, I think obviously local is going to be a big kind of shift in the way management companies think. But with that, the bigger theme is I know we saw a ton of venture capital and private equity come into the space from the terms of like building a brand. So Front Desk, Domio, all those kind of brands that kind of came in. And then also the tech side, right? Like a lot of companies, how many stories did we cover over the last couple of years on not acquisitions, but fundraising? So a lot of our favorite friends in the industry and companies that we all know and love have raised a ton of cash. And I think that investment is going to shift away from the tech and the brands, and it's going to go more into in-city or in-destination infrastructure. But I think that's where the money is going to shift. As we saw, Fairly open up, which was started by one of the Vacasa co-founders. You have Well and Good Professional Services, which is growing like crazy, 18 locations across the country. So my hope and my prediction is that investment will shift away from the brands and the tech, which I think it's still going to happen. It's not going to say it's no investment, but I'm predicting that it's going to shift away from that a little bit. And we're hopefully going to be smart and build infrastructure to actually help the operations on the ground. I think that was a big miss. So basically 0 announcements of funding outside of outside of those that I mentioned on that clip. So big L.
I do think that you were right though about operations. Like there's a big put, like that everybody is realizing, and if kind of going back to that local aspect, you're just not seeing the funding.
I would argue it's at least half right, because all the private equity groups are buying and keeping the operations in house. They are not pulling it out like Vacasa used to do and centralizing it. So from that standpoint, I think you're right. And I also would say, get back to what I said earlier, and I'll probably say it in a different way, but you overestimate what will happen in 1 year and underestimate what will happen in 10. So I think the trend is right.
My one defense is that I think the investment of operations is coming actually from the operators themselves. They're not taking money, but they're like, Dennis from Cassiola, they're investing in a huge warehouse space for a lot of their laundry and a lot of their operational stuff that, holding inventory for all the homes and training of their staff and all this other stuff. Blue Ridge, is it Blue Ridge Mountain? Blue Ridge Cabins? Yeah. I keep forgetting CJ Stam's company's name, but they're also doing the same thing. Southern Comfort. Yes. Okay. Yeah. They're doing a big investment too in the same thing, kind of warehouse training, laundry, supply, all that good stuff, like operationally. So yeah, maybe I'll get a half a point like Jamie and Brandy and say.
Is Paul keeping score for us?
Yeah. Say, Paul, please.
We're grading on a curve this year.
Yes, I love that.
The more bold the prediction, the better the curve.
Yeah, it's weighted grades.
Yeah. Paul did make a good comment. He said the hotel crew did take a little bit of an easy route, and we got some. No offense, Steve and Sarah, we love you guys. Great predictions. But we do. Paul says we have some visionary trailblazers on the VR side with far more aggressive predictions. So I will say the predictions were pretty aggressive. As I was reviewing the clips this morning before we went live, so I was like, all right, that was a good one. But sweet, yeah, I think half a point for me on that, and we are now ready for Brandy's second prediction. So get ready. Yeah, I was going to say, do I have a drum roll? I do. Oh, it's a bongo one. Lame. Okay, here we go.
But I have another acquisition prediction kind of in that vein. I think we're going to see another kind of like hotel flag, kind of like Marriott, go after another STR company. So my guess would be an urban operator, because that fits more in line with like their.
How many big urban operators are there, Brandy? You can't make a prediction about your own company.
I know, but we have
cheating. It's an inside track.
We have too small of a footprint right now for that to be like, we're dense, but we only have 2 markets, and so I think that we're not on the table right now. There's no insider trading happening.
You could franchise.
That's possible. But I just, I think that makes a logical next step, because Marriott really has been blazing the trail for the hotel flags of like getting, with Homes and Villas, with the Sonder agreement, which is still like this nebulous mass that no one like truly understands. So I think there's going to be another hotel flag that's going to make a big play into our industry, because there's a lot of catch up to do. They've tried, but nothing has been as successful as what Marriott has done so far. So
that aged well.
Well, so obviously Hilton didn't like acquire Romy or anything like that, another urban operator, but and then the Marriott, like I think there was also just such optimism maybe at the beginning of the year with like what this meant for kind of like a paradigm shift between like in the industry. And I think I might even like lose my half point here, because not only did another big hotel flag not acquire another big urban operator, but then the Marriott Sonder deal exploded in the most dramatic way possible. So,
and to piggyback on that, we also talked about licensing or distribution only agreements.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure any more will happen following the blow up of Sonder and Marriott. So I thought, and that was certainly on a path to be pretty widely adopted. I think there might be some screeching brakes and a full-on stop at this point on licensing only deals. But we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we didn't see any big hotel players come in outside of what was mentioned in that clip. So kind of seemed to have been a good halt.
Not yet. That said, I have to believe somebody's chomping at the bit for a Costco relationship because it is franchise. It aligns with their existing business relationships. So
Wyndham
my guess,
go ahead.
My guess is once Costco gets on firm ground and a year or two out of the acquisition, probably 2 years out of the acquisition because they're still selling markets right now, that one of the major flags is going to take a very serious run at them. And I don't know who it is, but there's a preview of a prediction.
It's a good preview. I Wyndham has been pretty
Write that
silent.
down.
Yeah, take notes. I would say because I've interviewed gosh, man, I'm blanking on names today, but basically the CEO of Reside Worldwide did a really big partnership with Wyndham, and they're more of an urban operator. They've been around pretty for quite a while, actually, a lot longer than a lot of the startup brands that we saw, collapse. So there could be some play there if they're having some success, but yeah, I'd be curious to see what hotel brand IHG. I doubt it, based on some comments from the CEO. So I don't know. Would be interesting for next year for sure. We got some funny comments coming in. Steve Turk calling us fake news by saying they took the easy route. Just kidding, guys. We love you. It's always a good time. So hotel crew, yeah, Steve, yeah, your predictions were on point. We get it. Anyways, moving on. We have another great clip from good old Michael Golden. So Michael, get ready to keep score.
Jamie totally spoiled mine. It sounds like it might be one of his as well.
Nope.
But I do foresee more earn and burn partnerships with the major flags. Last year.
What do you mean, like earn and burn? Can you define that a little bit?
I can, yeah. So basically distribution only agreements where people can, where the OTAs are rather the flags are taking essentially an OTA structure with the companies, and they're also able to earn and burn their loyalty points. So we saw with Marriott, the Sonder deal. We also saw Trailborn right at the end of the year. With Hyatt, we saw Under Canvas. With Hilton, we saw AutoCamp and SLH. So that was 5 that I saw last year. I have to imagine there's going to be a lot more of that coming. And once that cat's out of the bag, yeah, I've never seen behind the veil on these. My guess is there's a first right of refusal to acquire these companies. I could be totally wrong. If that's not in place, it does seem a little out of character just to basically pivot into becoming an OTA. But that kind of plays into my first prediction that as hotels build out this distribution play, that the OTA's market share will decline a little bit.
So how many were there, Michael?
All right. So I don't understand how you can have 5 in a quarter before the end of the year and then none happen the following year. It makes no sense. I will defend that. These licensing agreements on paper make total sense for all parties involved until Sonder blows up. And now I don't foresee anything happening. Now that I said that, we'll see 5 more next year. But yeah, honestly, if I were to weigh which ones I felt most strongly about, I would have guessed that one had a good probability of success, given the velocity coming out of 2024 into 2025 and how asset light and easy these transactions were. Now, looking at one fall epically and however much money Marriott lost on that deal and probably still losing social capital and brand equity, but I don't know if it's going to happen again. So, oh well.
Yeah.
You win some, you lose some.
Hey, look, like Paul said, bold, aggressive predictions over here. Due to the sake of time, what we're going to do is I'll just say my last prediction was that Uber was going to become another big growth spurt, basically not through acquisition, but through direct and exclusive partnerships, which was kind of true, but kind of like Michael said, it was very popping off in the beginning half of the year and then basically fell off. They haven't done a lot of pushes in the travel sector. So another L on my side. I'll take it. And to keep this episode moving, because we are trying to be cautious of time, we're going to play Jamie's last prediction, which was actually right on the money. So here we go.
I'm going to go with a pessimistic one for
End on a high note. That's great.
for 2025. And then I got to, I'll throw out my last one too as a wild card, but I think travel to the US is going to be down in 2025. So we actually saw it was up pretty significantly in 2024, up 17%. And I think we've got some new headwinds sort of coming into 2025. Dollar has been strengthening, hit a new high. And then I think it is in the Trump presidency, US is a brand. And we saw it during the first presidency, first term for Trump, that we actually saw travel to the US come down 1% in 2017, further down throughout 18, 19. We saw travel from China to the US down 12% throughout the presidency. And if we do get into the scenario, and we already see the rhetoric sort of starting to heat up between US and Canada, US and Greenland, US and Mexico. US
Greenlanders are not coming to America, that's for sure. All 50,000 of them.
Right.
All
that,
numbers.
and it could just be rhetoric, and we get into trade wars with more country. I do worry about what that means for US as a brand, and just consumers, international travelers choosing to travel to other countries and not to the US. And that can be very detrimental to companies like Romy that I'm sure, and being in Miami and New Orleans, a large percent of your traveler base is coming from overseas.
All right, Jamie. Great work.
Yeah, I'm not proud of it, but that was spot on.
Yeah.
Exactly what happened. The rhetoric increased. We had the Great Liberation Day in April of 2025, and really beginning in March and through the entire year, we saw year-over-year declines in international travel to the U.S., especially from Canadians. So it was not a good year for inbound U.S. travel.
And
as Michael said, go ahead. Yeah.
And 0 Greenlanders came. So check. And I can also say pretty confidently that in 2026, U.S. will grow year over year with inbound tourism. So
This is not a prediction show, Michael.
Yeah, you've been making a couple predictions. You've been sneaking them in early. And I call foul play.
all right,
Brandy.
that's fair.
I'm with Brandy.
That's fair. But
No one's
Jamie, you looked at historical data, you read the tea leaves, and you nailed it. So
yeah,
take that, Steve Turk.
Fight.
Yeah, the one that we didn't want to come true did.
Yeah.
It's very true that like Skift has been covering it a lot, and I think we're going to see a little bit more with these new travel rules that the administration has put into place with social media scanning and all this other stuff. So it's just not looking good for the U.S. But with the World Cup, fingers crossed for sure. Guys, this is one of my favorite episodes of the year. I love the fun that we have. I love the Christmas outfits, even though Jamie took his off. It's probably getting a little warm over there. I understand. But this is so much fun. And for our live viewers, we really love the participation. It's a lot of fun to revisit because a year does go by super fast. But it felt like it was yesterday when we were making those predictions. So
Yeah, and before we wrap up, I want to shout out Roel, who is live in the comments. This is one of the OG Romy employees who said he listens every Monday. So thanks for tuning in all the time. It's nice that we can connect after Romy live on Mondays. That's wonderful.
Yes, always a good time. All right, as we always do, so for the listeners, if you're just now tuning in, this is our last episode of the year. So the Monday crew, we have one more episode with Sarah Dandishy and Katie Klein on Wednesday, as Steve Turk is going to be at his kids' school Christmas, I think, play show. So, good episode to end on the year. But for you guys, what do you have looking forward to this weekend and going into the holidays? Brandy, we'll start with you.
I'm just like doing a Northeast tour now that I live here. I'm going to be in Saratoga, in New York, in different parts of Massachusetts. So it's nice to be able to like drive or take the train and go see friends and family, which I'm pretty pumped about.
That'd be awesome. Are you doing the cabin again for Christmas, or
No? We'll go to Saratoga for Christmas. Yeah. Hard to get my grandma up. It gets real cold in December up there.
100%. What about you, Jamie? You doing anything fun with the boys?
We've got our short-term rental sort of blocked off for the holidays, taking the in-laws up there, and we're going to enjoy that. Hopefully get some snow. We've got some great hills up there for sledding if it does snow. Fingers crossed. And then on January 1st, we're flying down to Miami and doing a boys trip, taking 2 boys down. We're going to head to the Keys and get some sun and surf before school starts back up again.
Welcome to Miami.
Yeah.
It's going to be the theme when you guys walk off the plane. It's going to be good. I love it. What about you, Michael?
Like Turk, got the kids' Christmas, whatever, pageants, presentation thing this week. And then really just embracing the holiday season, trying to slow down, enjoy it. It's the kids are at a fun age for the holidays right now. So looking forward to the next couple weeks.
I love it. Well,
you will.
Yep. I was going to say, I got a fun expedition this weekend, my first overnight winter mountaineering climbing session. So I'll be gone Friday through Sunday. And then Monday, I'm heading off to Florida because my parents retired, moved from Washington State, went to Florida, did the whole thing. But I'm really excited because, like you, Michael, slowing down. Skift actually is taking off that time from December 24th, I think, for most of the leading into New Year. So it'll be great to chill. But my brother, I have a twin brother for those who don't know, and he has Down syndrome and he loves WWE. And so for Christmas, I got him WWE tickets. And so my dad doesn't know, and thankfully he doesn't listen to the pod, but I also got my dad a surprise ticket too. So we're gonna have a boys' night, and it's gonna be
nice.
So my brother's gone to like all these concerts and all these other fun things, basketball shows, or not shows, but like basketball games. But his one obsession is WWE, and he's never gone. So it'll be fun. It'll be a good time. So yeah, that's my
well, enjoy. Merry Christmas.
Yes, Merry Christmas. Thanks, Raul. And of course, Paul Manzi and the Steve Turk and everybody who tunes in live. We appreciate you guys. Have a great Christmas and a Happy New Year. And like always, we'll see you guys not next week, but next year.
Next year.